When Idaho joined the Union in 1890, statehood came with its own United States District Court, thanks to Article 3 of the Constitution. That meant there was a need for a federal judge. In 1891, James Beatty, a former candidate to be Idaho's first governor, accepted that first federal appointment. Beatty would travel the state and hear cases in 3 places: Pocatello, Moscow, and Boise, where the court would share space with the city's post office beginning in 1905. Retiring in 1907, Beatty would be followed by judges Frank Dietrich, then Charles Kavanaugh in 1927, and Chase Clark in 1943. And for 63 years, Idaho's 3 district courts would be overseen by 1 judge. Until 1954, when a second U.S. district judgeship was created, and President Dwight D. Eisenhower would fill that position with Nampa native Fred Taylor. Idaho has managed with just 2 full-time federal judges since. Well, 1954, that was the last time the District of Idaho got an additional judge, a year after KTVB even went on the air. And back then, Idaho had only about, a bit more than 600,000 people, less than a third of what we have today, which is why Idaho's Congressman Mike Simpson, who's been in Congress for a while, has been saying for a while, Idaho's federal courts are stretched too thin. And now Simpson, along with delegates from other states, are making another big push to fix that. He's a co-sponsor of the Judges Act of 2025. Judicial Understaffing Delays Getting Emergencies Solved Act. That's what it is, because Congress can't really do anything important without an acronym, obviously. But this is sort of a redo since the exact same bill passed previously with bipartisan support. However, it was vetoed by President Biden at the end of December. Simpson's been here before, too, backing several bills to add more judges, including the Rocky Mountain Judgeship Act and a reboot of the Ninth Circuit Court of Appeals. But like many things in D.C., it takes some time to fix. And Hunter Funk found out from inside about the reality of a backlogged court system and why adding a 3rd judge in Idaho is now into its 7th decade.
We're getting by, but we can't keep doing this.
United States Courts Clerk for the District of Idaho, Steve Kenyon, says the courts are stretched thin.
There's 94 federal courts across the country. Every other one's got new judges since then, except for Idaho.
Every year, the Administrative Office of the Courts puts out a list of emergency filings that need a judge. And with Idaho having only 2 federal judges,
Idaho's been on that list for 20 years. So people file a lawsuit in Idaho, it's gonna be assigned to a judge, but we don't have enough capacity. So over the last 5 years, we've had over 20 visiting judges come in from all over the country.
Judges sent in from Arizona, Arkansas, California, New York, Michigan, Missouri, Ohio, Virginia, Washington, and Wyoming. And since 2019, out-of-state judges have heard 220 Idaho civil lawsuits, and that doesn't even count the criminal docket.
It's a logistical nightmare for us, and it's only going to get worse, as our population continues to explode.
The workload for the 2 current Idaho judges is pushed to the brim. In 2023, they spent an average of 140 nights on the road and hearing cases out of their more than 200 days of work.
You can only ask our judges to do so much.
With more people in the state of Idaho, it means there's more cases, and going to trial will take several years.
In a perfect world, we'd get them out in 6 or 8 months, or a year, but it's, a typical case is easily 4 years. Easy.
Kenyon says it's time that people wanting their case heard will never get back.
To have the uncertainty for so many years waiting for your case to come up and to be heard, it's really difficult for everybody.
But why can't we just snap our fingers and get them?
Politics. Okay, it's a lot of politics.
They have to wait for Congress to pass a bill, which is what Representative Mike Simpson, along with other Idaho congressmen, have been trying to do for years. And the Judges Act 2025 would eventually give Idaho 1 more judge. In a statement, Simpson said in part, quote, "With Idaho's growing population comes greater pressure on our courts and an increase in cases. Adding a 3rd district judgeship will help reduce backlogs and ensure Idahoans receive timely justice," end quote. While Kenyon says they could use even more, this is a good start.
We're cautiously optimistic. Let's just put it that way. We're certainly cautiously optimistic that something can happen in this upcoming session.
Idaho courts are feeling stretched thin, and Kenyon says hopefully this year might be the year.
We're definitely paying the price. The District of Idaho, when I say we, especially our judges and their workload, is it's brutal.
And Idaho isn't alone. Federal courts across the country are dealing with the backlogs that can drag cases out for years. And Simpson says this bill is a step towards fixing that. So we're going to see if that actually makes it this round.
Okay, so it's not just these district court judges.
Correct.
I mean, backlogs are happening all over the country, but it's also in Idaho, but not just these district judges, right?
Yeah, so he had a good example. You have magistrate judges. I know he had a few numbers there that we were off. The other thing is staffing in these places. They said that they have 38 staff members, and I think they were quoted in 1990 in anticipation for 2020 to be at 130 something.
That's what they would need.
That's what they would
Wow.
need.
Okay.
And the area grew a lot bigger than anticipated in that rundown in 1990.
We're pushing 2 million now.
Yes.
It's worth pointing out, too, with this getting through, that would mean that President Trump would be the one probably to appoint if this goes through the next 4 years. Out of all of this time, we've had 13 of these district judges over the history of Idaho. Only one has been appointed by a Democratic president. That'd be Clinton back in the 90s. So, all right. Thanks, Hunter.